aka SporkDAO, and today I am joined by Ahmed Castro from Scroll ZKP. What's up, Ahmed?
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me. Super happy
Yeah,
to be here.
thanks for joining. For folks that have been following along with the Smart Contract Tuesdays series, we have been doing a lot of different stuff, mainly focused on Solidity. Over the last few months, we've learned basic Solidity data types, got all the way to understanding hard hat, writing scripts, and doing deployment on various networks. We've had folks from other L1s and other rollups come and explain some of the basic ideas around like scaling. We've talked about other languages like Sway, for example. And so I'm excited because as a not so secret ETH maxi, I always get excited when there's like a scalability solution that just adds on to like the existing moat of ETH mainnet. Sorry, I have my bias. It's okay if you have yours. Um, and so to that end, I'm excited that we're joined by someone who's at the Scroll team, which is working on well, I think I'll let you explain it better than I could. So before we get into what Scroll offers, one thing I always love to do is if we could both say GM to everyone watching, GM everyone.
GM, everyone.
I like to know the people behind the screen first. So I'm curious, how did you get to where you are? Like, did you have a life before this current role? And how did you find out about Web3 and start getting your foothold in the industry?
Yes, so I find out about Web3 because of the Silk Road. That's how I found out about Bitcoin. Yeah.
First time I've heard that answer. Great.
Yeah. So, but I didn't do anything. Actually, I wasn't, I guess, open-minded enough to understand what was going on, what Bitcoin was about. And I just look at the Bitcoin logo. I didn't like it. It just didn't. I didn't feel
So orange.
compelled. Yeah, too orange. Yeah, yeah, too orange for my taste. Yeah, I guess. And and then, but then I actually got into Web3 because of blockchain or crypto because of Dogecoin. So yeah, I got in 2013 and at the very beginning. And I've been a developer before Web3. I did video games and also, yeah, all sorts of also web apps and mobile, but especially video games. So I took a look at how Dogecoin works, and which is basically Bitcoin, is the same, and I really, really, really like it. So I started seeing how easy what is to code, and I did a little some video games on Dogecoin. And then a friend of mine introduced me to Ethereum. And at the beginning, I remember back then there was so many cheat coins. So I thought, oh, okay, Ethereum is just another cheat coin. I didn't understand at the beginning, but one time he just sit me and put the computer in front of me. Look, this is Solidity. This is a smart contract. You can code it this way. You can deploy like this, etc. And I really, it was thanks for him that actually, thanks Christian, if you see this.
Shout out to Christian.
Yeah, it was because of him that I got into Ethereum. And yeah, just fast forward now, I'm just very deep into the rabbit hole, doing, yeah, just I full time doing blockchain stuff, super happy. And especially now with Scroll, that is the is a I remember back then that we used to see like it wasn't not too long ago that we used to think that, oh, these theories of having like zero knowledge proofs on blockchain, this scalability that's going to help, but it may work or it may not. And yeah, fast forward now, Scroll is doing these amazing things, and I am really, really happy and honored to be part of the team that is making this possible. Because yeah, for people that don't know about Scroll, it's a CK EVM, basically, as Derek said, that if you know how to deploy smart contract on Ethereum, you also know how to do it on any CK EVM, such as Scroll. And it's if you're a user, it's the same experience, but it's cheaper, faster, and you don't have to compromise security because all security relies on layer one. So yeah, super happy to what's happening on the space, and also yeah, being part of the team.
Sweet. Yeah, when you were doing your game dev, what were you working in? Like Unity or something?
I so for Dogecoin, my first project was this some sort of casino that you send Doge and you open a chest, and some chest have more coins. So yeah, I used to. That was my first one, but I started. Then I think the biggest one. It was so fun doing it. It was so much fun doing that. I grabbed this open source MMO RPG. So, so like you go around like killing monsters and collecting coins, doing quests, everything. So I took this MMO and I introduced like Dogecoin. This for you guys that have worked with bitcoins. I introduced these RPC commands to being able to receive and send money inside the scripting language of this MMO.
Insane.
So
Oh my,
yeah, it was so cool.
oh
So
my god.
basically, you could do scripting as you will on the game, but adding this feature so you can add this to the quest, you can add it to whatever you want. So I added a couple of um, a couple of games. I remember. So back then there was I think there's still a big community on Reddit on Dogecoin, but now it's so crazy now. After Elon Musk, it's so crazy now. But back then there was a community on Reddit, so I talk about this game, and people gave me donations, and I put this donation on this well, like this magic well that you can go like one time per day, and it will give you like 5 Doge, and for free. It's like a faucet. So that was one
Mm.
game. My favorite one is that you go to this underground and you talk to this guy, and he asks you for, I don't know, 5 Doge to enter to this dungeon. And inside the dungeon, it's like free for all. It's like battle royale. Everyone fights with each other, and the guy that wins is going to take the the reward from the other one.
The whole pot.
Yeah, the whole
Wow,
pot.
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was very cool.
I mean, that's composability, right? Like you just by doing the RPC calls have just layered on like a real financial layer to the MMO. Because,
Yeah,
it reminds me of like old school World of Warcraft. There was like a sort of economy, like you could buy gold, for example, with US dollars, like on the
yeah,
side markets, but it's cool to like use the scripting language to do it in game like that.
yeah, super cool. Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah.
And that also reminds me a lot of the kinds of projects that are going to come out of ETH Denver soon. For folks that are watching and didn't know, we announced all the bounties on Monday, which was yesterday morning. So we'll go watch the replay, the VODs on Twitch and YouTube and Twitter. If you are going to be biddling this year, I highly suggest you start studying all the bounties because you can apply to up to 10 bounties when you submit a project at ETH Denver. And so if there are 10 bounties that are all relevant to your project and your project's making good use of them, that makes it a lot more consistent in terms of walking away with some prize money compared to folks who do no bounties and are just going for like that grand prize for the track. Both are great, but I highly encourage folks to check that out. I was thinking about that because like the projects you were mentioning are the exact kinds of things that I would expect at ETH Denver where folks are like, yeah, like I wrote a scripting language.
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be also. I'm very excited because there's going to be some stuff on gaming. So yeah, we're very happy and curious to see what happens now. Because yeah, now it's so much cooler than before. That's the good thing about blockchain. I remember back then doing this game, everything was in reality in the backend. It was very centralized. There was no way back then of doing it, this game and having these interactions like in a decentralized way. But yeah, now with Ethereum, we can do it decentralized, and I think it's super cool. Yeah, I'm very, yeah, very expectant to see what gets built in the hackathon.
Yeah, we'll see. So for now, I would like to make sure we honor the intention of Tuesdays where we increase our smart contract knowledge. So I think you have a little bit of screen sharing to do and can walk us through a little bit of this, like what is Scroll, what role does it play, how can folks use it?
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to talk too much about Scroll.
Okay.
Um, I would like to have this presentation about this cool protocol that I think it deserves more attention that
We're learning about an EIP right now?
yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, I think EIP-712 it's something that I wanted to share with you guys, with all the developer community, because I think it has not enough documentation at the present moment, and I think that many developers can benefit from this, and yeah, just make better protocols. So yeah, this is something that we usually call colloquially like gasless transactions, but the more technical, if you want to impress your friends, the more technical term is this permit smart contract EIP 712. So yeah, that's what I would like to talk about today. So should I begin?
Yeah, go for it. I was just updating the title because I want folks to know we're talking about
Okay,
gasless
nice.
transactions or permit smart contracts.
Yeah. Yeah, so what we're going to do, yes, to honor this Smart Contract Tuesday, and so it's to learn how to send a transaction to the blockchain, but by signing it, going through a relayer, and then execute it. Yeah, we'll learn more about this, and what you can expect from this live is to first learn what an off-chain protocol is. There are many different type of off-chain protocols, but yeah, we will like get familiarized with this idea by doing a small, very naive implementation of a very simple off-chain protocol ourselves. That's what we're going to do, and I think this can help improve our users with better UX. And yeah, I think it can improve like in different ways the UX, and also maybe find different use cases. I think this is very an open protocol. I think this is going to be super interesting, and we're going to do a small demo, as I say, very naive implementation. The most simple thing that you can do to make an off-chain protocol work. And if you wonder how um, like to what protocol this may be related and what protocol are using, I think the best example so far is CowSwap. I don't know if you have used it, but you're able to swap tokens, but just by signing transactions, you don't execute it, and you can decide to pay the gas fees on whatever token, maybe DAI, maybe ETH, BTC, whatever you want. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So like we're not going to do like the whole call swap, because that's a great protocol that I really like. But it's very complex. But we're going to do like this like the first building blocks about that. And also, I like want to encourage you guys to like open your mind to this EIP, because I think it's very cool. I think you're going to like it, and it's open to a lot of creativity. So yeah, I hope that you guys like build confidence on yourself and try to experiment, and maybe it could fit on something that you are doing or trying to work through a hackathon. Also, one thing that I want to say is that what we're going to be doing in this live is like very hackathonish. What I mean by that is we're going to be doing a lot of copy paste, and we're going to be doing we're not going to be working in the most organized way, but this is because I want you to get the general idea, and if you want to get to improve on top of this, at the end of the live, we're going to make a couple of recommendations on what to do next if you like this.
This is very hackathonish.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe for this hackathon, I think it will be nice if people implement this, and think it's yeah. So yeah, you're going to say let's see if you guys like what we're going to do. So we're going to do this three-step process. We're going to sign a transaction. We will send it to a relayer. We'll also learn what a relayer is, and then we're going to execute it. That's what we're going to do. So this should be looking something like that, like this. We're going to like create a message, for example, saying hello. Then we're going to encrypt it or also sign it. And yeah, encrypt and sign is basically the same thing. And then we're going to verify it. So for signing, we're going to use Metamask. We will have a pop-up that will sign a message. This is also used in the permit in Uniswap, for example. You can approve your token by doing the permit. That's an alternative way of doing it in a secure way. So yeah, we're going to pop up Metamask and sign a transaction, and then we're going to verify. And to verify it, we're going to verify through a smart contract on Ethereum. We're going to use in this slide we're going to use Scroll because yeah, I come from Scroll, and also inviting people to use Scroll, but this can be done in any other place, and I will teach you guys how to do it in whatever place that you want. For example, in Guerli or whatever you want to do it, because this is compatible with any EVM compatible blockchain. And also, now just doing like this small message, like saying hello, for example. But you can do anything. For example, it could be sending tokens. Your message could be making a swap, minting an NFT, deposit, claiming, whatever you want to do. So yeah, you can make use of the expressivity that we like on Ethereum to do whatever we want. This is just an example. And as I said, just to keep it simple, we're going to verify this specific smart contract, the well-known greeting smart contract that we usually see as an example. And this may be the first smart contract that was certainly the first smart contract that I wrote, the greeting smart contract, that as you can see, you have this string and you can change the value of the string just by passing it as a parameter. So we're going to do this smart contract, but in an off-chain protocol. So basically, as the user, you will sign the message that you want to change this greeting, and then it will be changed on the smart contract. But yeah, just by it could be by a third party, but it will be done in a secure way. So yeah, now getting more into it, this is how it should look like. This is how we will sign a transaction, as you say. As I said, MetaMask will pop up, and you will sign. Then we will build like a very simple UI for signing and relaying the messages. So as you can see, it's going to be HTML vanilla and also JavaScript vanilla. It's going to be super like with the least amount of code that you need to understand. Um, and I advise you that if you already know another uh, language, for example, you already know React, for example, I will advise you to use React instead. Yeah, you can work more organized. And also, if you will want to make it look prettier than this, so you may use like a CSS library. But as I said, this is intended for like this is very hackathonish, like I said. So we're going to do it this way. And finally, so as I say, first we're going to sign a transaction, then we're going to send it to our relayers, and the relayer that is going to be a backend in Node.js is going to execute a transaction, and that's the whole process. So the signer won't have to pay gas. The one that will pay the gas is the verifier. So yeah, we will make a deeper dive on that later. So yeah, I think that we can start with our demo, and I'm going to be doing Um, we will be using this. Um, I don't know if I can share it with you. This
Yeah, if
URL.
you go back to the stream tab, and I'll take your screen share down for a moment. If you go down back to the stream tab and then down where it says private chat, if you send it to me, I
Okay.
can make it so folks can.
Okay. Here you go. And also, I'm going to share. If you want to do it like I'm doing it myself, I will be doing it with scroll. So I will share the link for the scroll configuration if you need.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm now ready.
Okay, I'll bring it back up.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so um, everything that you need for doing a protocol like this, I put it here in this blog post. As I said, this is the most naive implementation, and we're going to go step by step here. And by the end, you should be able to do all of this. So um, this blog post is done is done to be it's intended if for people that want to do it on quarterly testnet. But I myself am going to be using scroll. So if you want to, for example, use Optimism or Polygon or Ethereum mainnet, I will show you while we're going through it what you will need to change. And also, if you were wondering, usually if you saw a protocol like a project working on X protocol and you want to do it in another protocol, you will learn how to do it if you are wondering. So yeah. So if you want to complete everything that we have here, you will need MetaMask. There is some link there also for MetaMask if you want to install it. You will need some funds. So in here, I will leave the faucet for Goerli. So if you want to do it in Goerli, if you want to do it on Scroll, you can go here in scroll.io. And at Scroll currently we have a pre-alpha, and we're very near to going. So what the pre-alpha is that we are running both layer 1 and layer 2. So our testnet is running on a layer 1 that we launch ourselves.
Mm.
But I think um, this may be a little bit of insider information, but we're very, very, very near of going to a layer, like using layer 1, using Goerli as layer 1. We're super,
Mm.
super near. And this will be announced in a couple of days, I think. So yeah, but at the moment you can. So if you go to the hackathon, you can use whatever, because I think for Denver hackathon we may be having like this quarterly testnet, so you can use whatever. But at the moment I will use this pre-alpha. So if you want to do it yourself, you can go this to the faucet. You can here add scroll to your MetaMask. So it should be looking like this. You should have scroll layer 1 and layer 2 as networks. And then you can go to the faucet and you move to layer 1. And here you can request funds. I can do it now because I already did it, but you can request some funds. Then you go to the bridge, and from layer 1 you send funds to layer 2. So at that point you should be able to use layer 2 as any other blockchains. And yeah, alternatively, as I said, you can do the same thing that I'm going to do now on Goerli. So you can go to the faucet, Goerli faucet, and you can grab some funds from there, and it's going to be exactly the same, because that's the point of Scroll, and that's the point of all the CK EVM at the moment, that it works exactly the same. So yeah, and also if you want to continue up until the end, you will also need Node.js. And yeah, I also left some links here, and an RPC key. You can grab it from Infura or for Alchemy. So yeah, once we are ready, we're going to go to the first step, that's launching the smart contract. And so we're going to grab this and we're going to take this to Remix. And we're going to create a new file.
Oh, how did you get muted? What happened?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think I just touched something on the microphone.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back.
There we go.
Okay. Thanks. So this is the smart contract, and we're going to just take a look. We're going to come back to this because, as I said, we were going to do the greeting smart contract. As you can see, it's very short. But now I'm showing like a very large smart contract. And yeah, at the moment, I'm not going to explain everything because by the end of the live, it will make a lot more of sense. But as you can see, there are some similarities here. We have the greeting text. This is the hello world. This is this one. This is the one that's going to be constantly changed. Is this one. And we also need the set greeting, the set greeting function. And it's all back at the end. It's the greet function. This is the same as the set greeting. This is the greet function. And now the greeting is passed like as a struct because just because I wanted to demonstrate how to capture who is the sender, because this is something important. So for example, imagine in CowSwap that it's very similar to Uniswap, but done as an off-chain protocol. If someone wants to make a swap, you have to know who is the sender. It's super important because it's not like anyone can take your tokens. So we need this security measure to know who is the sender. So that's why I added the sender here as a state variable. And also the greeting, when it's passed, it contains the text that's going to be changed, the greeting, and also the deadline. So the deadline is going to be because you want to put a deadline for a transaction to be executed, the same as you do in Uniswap. As you have seen, you can set it in the settings. You can say, okay, the deadline for this transaction is like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You can put that, and yeah, just for security measures. So I think this is something very important. This is something super important to do in an off-chain protocol. That's why I decided to add it. I hope it's not like adding too much complication, but I think it was worth it. So the two extra things that we add, so like just making a recap, we have the same text that we're going to set, but we added this. We're going to also store the sender, and also we will put a deadline to the execution. So now, as you can see, there is a lot of stuff here because the thing is that this protocol has been evolving. This 712 EIP has been evolving through the years, and now it's more complex. That's what you need to add all of this. You need to check which chain you are, what version of the protocol you're building, and other stuff that we're going to cover. But the thing is that this will give the user a so much better user experience. You're going to see that this. I know this looks like super complicated now, but I promise that in a moment it's going to be simpler, and you're going to see how this helps the user to do a lot of to be more confident on what he's signing, and that's nice. So here, back to the greeting. As I said, we're going to send the message and the deadline and the sender, and also we have this VRS thing that we're sending here. That these are the this is we're using elliptic curves cryptography. What you need to know is that this is the signature. So when we send the message, our signature it's built from three variables, V, R, and S. So whatever you use this elliptic curve. I'm not like a cryptography expert. I just know that.
Yeah, maybe if you could, like, let's treat it like a black box. But what's happening in line 59?
Here, Yeah, so basically, yeah, this is super important that here we're verifying that the signature, the V, R, and S, the signature is correct. So if everything is correct, we can continue. If not, it will revert and say invalid signature. So yeah, this is super, super important. As you can see here, um, this is how we verify that everything works. And yeah, we also check the deadline if still not reached, and if everything is correct, the deadline is fine and the signature is fine. We store the text and the sender, and yeah, that's it from the part. So yeah, what we're going to do now is to launch the smart contract, and then we will go to the front end so we can interact with it. So we're using Solidity 818. So we're going to compile it and we're going to deploy it. Oh, I already have another one deployed here, so I'm going to remove it. I was doing some tests before coming here. So yeah, as I said, I'm using scroll layer 2, but this should be the same experience and as you can see, it's basically the same. That's why I didn't want to talk about too much about scroll. It is at this point because it's the same. It's the same. It's not nothing nothing different. Oh, I think here in MetaMask it says pending, but it already appeared here. So yeah, I guess it's going to so MetaMask is going to catch up in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it for the smart contract. Now we are going to go to the next part, to the front end. As I said, we're using HTML vanilla. So if you want to upgrade this, I would recommend maybe React, Vue, or Angular. But yeah, at this point, yeah, you get the point. So here, we're going to, just the UI the user will interact with, some buttons, some text box, so the user can introduce the message that he wants to send. Also, some how it's going to be the state of the smart contract is going to be displayed here. So what we're going to do is we're going to um, create some files here. So for the front end, we're going to need two files, the index HTML, and then we're going to create another file for the JavaScript. So blockchain, I would just name it blockchain stuff.js. But it's going to have all the mechanics and all the signature and all the relaying, everything like mechanic wise. So here I'm going to paste all the HTML, and then we're going to the blockchain stuff file, and we're going to take all of this. Then I'm going to explain roughly in a moment and put it here. So as I say, the index is just the buttons that we're going to see in the screen. As you can see, there are some, for example, we're going to test it in a moment. But as you can see, we have the sign button where the people can introduce whatever they want to add and then sign the message. And then, yeah, we're just going to have another button for verifying the message. Yeah, so this is for the HTML. And the blockchain side is this is the cool stuff. Where this is how, so we're going to do so first it's just like initialize the smart contract, initialize the MetaMask wallet, all the things that you normally do. But the important part is around line, first line 130. So here we're going to print the state for the user so we can know the message that's currently stored, the hello world message that's currently stored on the smart contract. And then here is where we've signed the message. And just the user will, so the MetaMask will pop up for the user and the user will sign. And finally, here is where we will relay the message. We will send the message to a third party like this backend service that is running. We're going to build it in Node.js, and Node.js will send it to the blockchain. And I think this is very cool because we can have a message, we can sign it, and once it's signed, we are free to share it with anyone, and we're not sharing like compromisable information. Everything's very secure, but we can pass it to a third party and he can execute it. And yeah, we don't have to take care of that. I think it's super, super cool. That's where the improvements in user experience come from. So yeah, this is going to be blockchain stuff. So in here, we're going to make a couple of changes. First one, that here in the blog post is on network 5. So this network 5 is quarterly. So for example, network 1 is mainnet. So if you're doing Polygon, I think it's 137. I think that's Polygon. But in this case, we're going to do it in scroll. So the second link that I share is in here. So we're going to use the chain ID on scroll pre-alpha testnet. So this is the chain ID. So we change it here. That's the first change. And the second change is updating the Critter smart contract. It's this one. And we're going to set it to this smart contract that we just launched. So we copy this, we paste it here, and that's it. That's the only changes that you need to do. So if you want to do it in Goerli, just change this smart contract address. If you want to do it in any other protocol that is not Goerli, you will have to change both the smart contract and the network. This is the only change. And this applies for anything that you're doing. If you have a code base built for a specific platform, for example, you go to the Uniswap front end that is public on the Uniswap page. You can go that, you can download the the, the front end code, and you will just have to change the network ID and the smart contracts, and you can use it in any other platform. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So as we continue here, now it's going to be on the layer backend. So as I said, it's just going to be a small backend service that is going to execute the transaction. So we copy this. Oh, this is the name, the backend.js. This is going to be an express server, but you can do it with whatever you want. For example, if you like I don't know, .NET or Ruby on Rails, which is my favorite, Django, whatever backend that you want, you can do it. You can do it. You can set a backend that receives these transactions and then send it to the blockchain. And in general, what this backend needs to have, because at the end of the day, someone needs to pay the gas. So in this case, the backend is going to be the one paying the gas. And so we need to set up a wallet that has some funds, has some ETH, and that's the ETH that's going to be used on the backend. So yeah, in here, what you will need to change here is these two lines, line 10 and line 11. So for line 10 is the Gritter contract. So we go back to Remix, we copy the Gritter, and we put it here. And then the backend wallet address. This is the one that, as I said before, the one that's going to pay the gas. I'm just going to set it to this account. So make sure that this account has some ETH on it. And yeah, that's going to be it. As you can see here, this is the one this is the most important function. Line 46, relay greeting. So this what it's going to do is to post the transaction to the blockchain. So yeah, send sign transaction to the blockchain. He's going to post it, and yeah, so this will be executed by a third party. So
wait, the backend can just be an EOA. It can just be your wallet.
Yeah, I think this opens the door to a lot of possibilities.
I thought it had to be a smart contract.
No, it can be just a normal wallet. Super cool, right?
So does it queue the you said at the end of the day someone has to pay gas, but at the end of the day you don't have to manually sign something. You're a relayer, So is it just sort of draining automatically as people are signing messages from your wallet?
Yes, that's correct.
Wild.
Yeah, that's
Super
correct.
wild. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So here, this is the important part of the code. The rest, as I said, is just express stuff. For example, here, getting the parameters, like parsing them, and send it to this other function that is this is the ethers.js function. I think we're using ethers.js somewhere. Yeah, I think it's Alchemy Web3. I think Alchemy Web3 in the back is using ethers.js, and this is, but you don't have to use specifically Express. I just use Express because it's the simplest one, but you can do it in whatever backend that you want. So yeah, I'm going to save this, and we are now going to also, so for the backend to understand what how to execute everything, so he understands how to, he knows what function to execute. He will need the API, and this is the API from the smart contract that we just launched. You can find it in Remix. You can find it here in the Solidity compiler tab. Just select it from here. There's only one contract, so you select it here and just copy the API to your clipboard, and we're going to put it in this file, JSON API created.json. So JSON API creator.json. So just here, this is so the backend knows how to interact with the smart contract.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we're going to add this env variable. We're going to add our environment variables as you saw in the previous live stream on Hardhat. You need to set up environment variables so you don't upload your code to Git. You don't want to upload your private keys to GitHub. So yeah, we just set this, and so we will put two stuff in here. We'll put and this is for Quarterly, but you can put any other RPC URLs. If you want to use the one from Quarterly, you can use Infura or Alchemy, and it's going to be, you can use them for free. Better yet, if you have your own node running, you can use your own node. That's the best case scenario because this is the most decentralized. But if you don't, no worries, you can have an RPC from Infura and Alchemy. In this case, we're going to use the one from Scroll. That is this one, the RPC URL. You can use that for free. And we're going to paste it here. Now we're going to put a private key here. I'm not going to show it because,
Do you want me to? I could take your screen down for a moment.
Actually, I'm prepared for this.
How do you do it?
So I'm going to close this.
You go on a different monitor or something.
And I have an environment here.
But I can see this. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What don't I know? What's happening?
I'm going to replace the file,
Ah.
and that's it. Now I just have to make sure to not click here because it's going to show. So yeah, if you're on MetaMask, you can grab that from here. Account details and export private key. You put your password here and confirm. So you can grab it from here. Remember to not share this with anyone, and especially don't upload that to GitHub. So
yeah, I mean, is .env ignored by Git by default, or do you need a .git ignore?
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. It's not ignored by default, and it's something that it's not added in here in this.
You better update that. People scan this QR code.
Yeah,
people are going to use this article.
Yeah. I will update for sure.
Mm-hmm. I had a buddy at Raid Guild, shoutouts to Raid Guild, that was working on a project, and he did not upload his .env or his private key, but what he did not realize was that an extension he was using in his environment, it was like Hardhat or something like it, somewhere in one of the logs that was in the file
Oh.
base, it basically had dumped his key during one of the errors, and somebody scooped that up and logged into his wallet, or loaded it up and then stole the stuff. He was like, "What? I got rugged by like hard hat? This is crazy."
Oh
So,
no, so bad.
never, even when you're doing all these steps, let's not forget, never use the same private key as what you're using for, where you actually hold your assets. You should have some separate account.
Yeah.
Sorry, I like to be even more clear. I'm not talking like account 2, but managed by the same seed phrase. I'm talking a completely different seed phrase or private key. And you can like send whatever ETH or faucet you need to it. But just never, 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 when you're developing, use your actual private key for whatever wallet you hold assets in, or a member of DAOs in, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I'm adding here on the on the blogs because
Great! I'm so happy to see that. Great. Look at us. We're pushing to main already.
Yeah. I will put here, remember to
Hey, Craig, good to see you.
your ignore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, it says sorry, there's a small typo. It says Ute instead of your.
Oh. To your. Thanks.
Yep, great.
Yeah. So yeah, now once you have, I think everything is set up now, we are going to also add this package JSON file to make launching your server more easily. Package.json file here. The most important thing here is that we have like this npm start that we are very used to, so we can start the backend more easily. And the dependencies, the Alchemy at .env. So yeah, we're going to install those dependencies. And after that, yeah, that's it. We're going to test it finally.
Where is this backend running? On our local machine?
Yeah, it's going to be running on our local machine. Mm-hmm. So this is in the same folder, but here we have two projects. So the JS and the blockchain stuff, and the index HTML is the front end. You will want to upload it, in a separate place, and the rest of it, especially the backend JS file, it's going to be, you can put it in a different server running, and that's where the relayer is going to be. So
DigitalOcean or an AWS instance or something.
Yeah, you can put it in whatever.
Okay, I was just curious, like
Azure.
How you ship to prod.
Yeah. So here I'm going to install this web server library. I already have installed, but it's I like this one because it's very simple to run. And once installed, you can just type light server, and here you go. This is our front end. And as you can see, it's reading the state from the smart contract. This is the hello world text that you can see here as the state variable, greeting text. And it's also reading this one, the greeting sender. At the moment, it's just empty. So it's this 000 thing. So what we're going to do is that we're going to change the greeting text, and then we are going to sign it, and then we're going to verify it. So yeah, let's go to the whole process. So for example, if you want to change it, you can put whatever you want. Let's put hola amigos. In case you didn't tell from my accent, I'm from Latin America, so I speak Spanish.
Yeah, bienvenidos a todo. Hola mundo.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you have nice accent.
Gracias.
So we also put a deadline, and in Solidity the deadlines is using this epoch. So I like using this website, epochconverter.com. So basically, the deadline is up until when this transaction can be executed. So if this time passes after that, you won't be able to execute it. So we can say, for example, now it's February 21. We can set it to February 22, and we're going to get the timestamp. And as you can see here, well, it's 23, so you can see it changing. So the epoch timestamp is in seconds, so it is this one. Don't grab this milliseconds. This is not compatible um, with Solidity. So we can grab this one, and we can put it in the deadline here. And yeah, now we can sign this transaction, and MetaMask pops up. And as you can see, I really like the experience. And this is something new because the first version of signing transactions on MetaMask, it was just this random string hash, and it was very hard to read. But now, as you can see a lot of things like the name of the contract you're interacting with, the text and the deadline. So when you click sign, you feel more confident on what you're signing. So this is the thing that I really like about this 712 EIP. That yeah, it's nice. Like it's super cool, like good user experience. So we can sign this, and it's going to produce this. I don't know why my MetaMask is so slow, but yeah, the signature, it produces this signature here, and this is the one that we're going to relay to our backend. So this part here will send these parameters to our small backend in Node Express. Going to send all the parameters that he needs, and he will execute it. So we'll pass everything: reading text, the green deadline, the sender. So I'm the sender, the address here, and finally the signature, this big hash. And this signature is the thing that makes everything safe for the user. So yeah, replicate this will be super hard for anyone else. So this is why this is super cool. So we're going to relay the transaction. There is a small it won't work. Sorry, because we need to run the backend. Npm start.
Sure enough.
Yeah, so we start the server. Now it's running locally, port 8080. It's waiting for message. So we relay, message sent. And in the backend, as you can see, it even posted the transaction ID. This one, we're going to copy, and we're going to take this we can take this to the Explorer. In this case, we're using using Scroll Explorer. You can use the Guerli Etherscan, for example, is using Guerli. And here it is. It's already confirmed. So let's test if everything is working correctly. So now it's saying hello world. It should say hola amigos, and the address should be set to my address. Here you go.
Wow.
So as you can see, it was executed by a server.
What?
In a
How
very
did it
secure
know?
way.
Okay, but first of all, great job, great job. When I sign a transaction, I choose between different amounts of gas that I can use, depending on how quickly I want to make sure it gets included in the next block. But it doesn't seem like that's a parameter we're setting. Is that sort of set by default? And what would happen if the gas of the network went up?
Yeah, I think that's a super good question because that can be defined on the backend. So in this case, in this setup, that could be defined on the Express node using this. I'm using this Alchemy Web3 thing that's using ethers.js in the back. So it could be set by ethers.js, for example. You can say, okay,
You could expose it to the user if you wanted to?
If you want, you can expose it to the user. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to avoid a situation where you sort of hard coded or something, and then the gas of the price of the network goes up for an extended period of time, and then nothing ever goes through ever again.
Yeah, and I think that's super nice because, for example, CowSwap. CowSwap, the thing that allows you to do is to pay the gas fees. It's something like we see in account abstraction, that you can pay the gas fees in whatever other token. For example, you can pay your gas fees on DAI. So if you don't want to hold Ether, I don't know why you wouldn't want to hold Ether. But if you want to hold, for example, only DAI, you can pay your transaction in DAI or whatever. So, but there should be like some economics in the background, right? Because he's paying for that, and there should be some way of rewarding the relayer. Mhm.
It also makes for a fantastic UX for onboarding. Like for example, at ETH Denver, we have we've always had like food truck tokens where after you check in, you get like this wallet, and then it has like an ERC20 that we make just for ETH Denver, and you can go use it at the actual food trucks that are out in front of the venue. And this year we're calling it Biddle Bucks, and you get more Biddle Bucks as you work on your project and talk to the mentors. And you're like, "Hey, we formed our team, we got our idea," and they're like, "Oh, great job! Here's some more Biddle Bucks. Go eat and then get back at it." And these wallets, it would be not very smart for us to have to load them all up with ETH because they're actually on ZK Sync and L2. They're not on testnet right now. And it would not be great if for the 20,000 people coming to ETH Denver, we had to seed all those wallets with some ETH. So instead, we're doing, I'm not 100% sure it's EIP-712. Maybe there's some other way of doing the account abstraction, but it's like gasless for the user. They just like sign and then the tokens transfer, and they don't
Mm.
need that base currency, whether it's ETH or whatever it is on that particular network. And so it's just a fantastic UX if you've got like a bunch of people attending some kind of event and there's a bunch of burner wallets or whatever. It makes it so you don't have to give them all like gas.
Yeah, and you can, for example, you can play around in Solidity. For example, okay, there's all this wallet, but you can only claim this once, for example, and that can be done in a secure way on Solidity. You don't have to make those validations on the backend on Node, for example. You can do it securely on the smart contract. I think it's super, super, super cool.
Mm.
Yeah, I would also like to go back to the presentation and just some like final thoughts
Hmm.
like about it. So some recommendation post hackathon or during hackathon, if you like this um, if you like this protocol, is that, for example, well, now we're using Remix, but instead of Remix, you could use Hard Hat, Truffle, Foundry if you want to work like more organized. You also want to upload and work collaborate with other teammates in GitHub, for example. That would be nicer. And also, instead of we use like HTML and JavaScript vanilla here. Yeah, you can use like a front-end library like React, Angular, Vue, or a CSS library, so your project looks nice, like Tailwind, Bootstrap, Bulma. Yeah. Also, very important the point number 3 is that think about the economics, how the relayer is going to be rewarded. I think we can play around with different like economics in that part. I think it's
Hmm.
um, yeah, very yeah, different. Things can be done in different ways in there. For example, as we were talking about before, having this checking if user like you can like for example maybe buy actions. I don't know. For example, I'm just thinking like yeah, just on the top of my head. For example, if you can say like okay, you can buy actions, and with the actions you can do whatever you want. For example, in CowSwap, you could like for example prepaid for swaps, or you can have this uh, like bot in smart contract. So you can have balances that the fee will get deducted from there, or you can even pay gas in multiple coins.
Mm.
You can like, for example, okay, I want to pay 50% it, 50% die, something like that. Yeah, this different way of doing that. And also, yeah, just I think this is something new, a protocol that has gone through a lot of changes. Um, Now, I think it's a good time to get into this protocol because it's it's got to a point that it's more mature and is better user experience. As we mentioned, now we can go back and see that here why we're implementing all these hash functions and everything. This is because we want to give the user a better experience, that when he signs a transaction, he knows he's in the correct chain ID, he knows he's in the correct project, and he will sign uh, these specific things. In our cases, is the text and the deadline. So yeah, it's a little bit more code complicated. I to be honest, had a hard time implementing this and bring it here today, because this was not easy to understand. But
I
I
don't
see
even
that.
understand how you have two functions named hash.
Oh yeah,
When you
that's
call
right.
hash, how did it know which one to call?
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, but the thing is that it has
Ugh,
two different
parameters.
parameters,
Yeah.
but it is this. Yeah, it's good that you mentioned it, because these are both internal. If they were external, I don't think this will work, because the API will get confused.
Okay.
But yeah, the thing is that you will. I think this is nice that all this stuff is being implemented, even if the code is a little bit more complex now. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's super nice. At this point of time, I think it would be nice to see what people can do on the with this with this EIP.
Yeah. I love the design space of rewarding the relayer, because now instead of the base gas token of whatever network you're on, we just now have the composability of it being anything. I mean, a simple way for folks to start thinking about it is like an arbitrary ERC20, like hey, come use our decks and you have to pay for gas in our ERC20 that we made up. But if you want to take it one step further, you could incentivize providing liquidity. You pay for transactions not with our native token, but with a liquidity token over on Uniswap or whatever of our token and ETH or DAI or whatever. And that's like your patronage. And in that way, the protocol like accumulates the liquidity. It sort of, over time, there's just a lot of fun ways you could play with it instead of it just
Yeah, for
because this is
example.
the go
Mhm.
ahead.
Yeah, sorry. For example, you could have, um, for example, if you have this NFT, you have a discount. For example, yeah, I think it's super interesting what you were saying.
Yeah, this reminds me of the old conversation, like does value accrue to the network layer or to the app layer? And this provides one more way in which you could try to accrue value in addition to the network layer, because again, the gas gets paid, but it's being paid by the relayer. But you could add another layer of abstraction on top. Is it NFTs? Is it ERC20s? Is it LP tokens? Whatever.
Yeah, and the relayer space, yes, so much thing going on in there, because I think, for example, CowSwap has multiple relayers, so you can have an economy of uh, like different relayers, and that they can compete to make it profitable. So yeah, that's a huge. I think that's
That's
a
so
big
cool.
yeah, big
Wow.
rabbit hole in there.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that gives us a lot to chew on. One last time, I'll go ahead and turn off your screen share
Oh,
and go ahead.
before turning
Or do
off,
you want to show? Okay.
yeah. So this
There you go.
final slide, that we're going to be at Denver. Actually, I'm already at Denver. So yeah, happy to, if you want to come and say hi to us in the booth, we're going to have a booth, and yeah, it would be nice to meet all of you guys. And we are having hackathon bounties, so make sure to ask about those, and also just keep connected in Twitter. You can just take a look at what events are coming. Scroll is going to be very active now, especially now. I'm very excited because we're going to go early finally, and I think it's going to be super cool. So yeah, happy to connect with you guys. If you find me on wandering on the on the event, just yeah, happy to say hi.
Yeah, go visit them at the scroll booth. Are you? What's your job title? DevRel or Dev Advocate?
Yeah, I'm Devrel at Scroll.
Yeah, so
And yeah.
the poor DevRel folks have to sit behind the booth for like so many hours. So go say hi
Yeah.
and ask like about the bounties. Like your whole job is to make it easier for folks to do a better job applying to the bounties, right? Or at least that's a big aspect of why you're there at the event, is to help
Yeah.
people learn about scroll technology.
Yeah, and whatever thing that you want to build on scroll, here I just brought this example, but it can be anything, games or whatever economy that you want to build. Yeah, just happy to hear what you're building. Yeah.
Oh, you're smart. I see what you did, GGH. So there's a link in the chat for more information on Scroll's bounties. They are allowed to share that information now because all the bounties were announced on yesterday. So if you want to learn more about the bounties, watch the VOD from yesterday. You can check out that link for information on Scroll's bounties. And if you want information on the rest of the bounties, it'll be up on eatdenver.com. One last thing, I'll go ahead and put the QR code up here on the left for folks that want to follow up and mess with that tutorial you had on dev.to. I just want to thank you for introducing EIP-712. I didn't know anything about it, and that's the nice thing about standing on the shoulders of giants. Like a lot of people have thought really hard about this, and I don't totally understand the relayer code or the verifier.sol, but like it exists. I could copy paste it. I could learn how to like tweak certain things. I don't have to make it from scratch. I don't have to understand elliptical cryptography very well. I can just know, oh, okay, there's like a few different parameters and good enough's good enough. So I appreciate folks like you like taking what folks are doing and like pioneering and then doing the work of communicating it at a layer where new folks like me can be like, oh, all right, I could copy paste. So I just appreciate you. I think education is equally important because if we make a bunch of cool stuff, but then nobody learns about it and uses it, then what was the point? So thanks for being here. You're really, I mean, you're doing, I have a teaching background. So I have a huge soft spot for education and I see what you're doing and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Derek. Yeah, yeah, happy to share this because yeah, as you said, this is a this been like a lot of work I've been putting here, and I just felt that yeah, this protocol needs more attention because it's super cool.
Yeah. Please help me send off everyone. The Twitter information was a few minutes ago. You can go back. But for now, we're going to say goodbye in the traditional way. Please join me in saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, man. See you later, everyone.